You purposely created this number because subconsciously, Logan, you knew that your future would be a success. Alright, Logan, so I want to try something pretty neat. Hopefully something that can provide you with a little bit of insight that you can actually take away from this little experiment, I might call it. Now, do you have a romantic partner currently?
Nope, singles all can be read.
Alright, that's good, that's good. So what we're going to try, we're going to create sort of a fictional romantic partner for you.
Okay.
Someone that can be, you know, sort of like an ideal, but a lot of the things we're going to create are sort of arbitrary, but it'll be helpful as an exercise. First things first, this person obviously needs a name. So I just want you to think of any name for this partner, any name you want, and let it come into your mind. Do you have one?
Yep, I think so.
I'm going to try to get a reading here, see if I can pick up on what that name might be. Let's try... Okay, just keep thinking about that name. Let's see, I think you went for like a medium length name, maybe like 3 to 7 letters perhaps. I'm gonna try, I think we're gonna go with that. Now we'll get back to this in a second. For now I'm gonna fold that up, I'm gonna hand it to you and you can just put it in your pocket. Alright?
Yeah.
Keep it in your pocket.
In the pocket.
Now, obviously you could have been thinking of any name, so what's the name of our fictional character?
I went with Kayla.
Kayla. That's a great name, beautiful name.
Yeah.
Now obviously this Kayla character would need a way to contact her if she was a real person.
Yeah, yeah.
So I think a good way would be a phone number. So we're going to create an arbitrary phone number. How we're going to do that, and before we do that, I'm going to once again take a little stab at what I think that might be, because we're going to create it in a bit of a unique way. Start to let some numbers pop into your mind, just sort of at random. Let's try 0, okay, 0, 0. Yeah, okay. Gonna go with that. I think that'll work, and you just put that in your pocket as well with the other piece. So now we have a name, and we're gonna generate a random phone number. So here's how we're gonna do that. I'm gonna open up my calculator, and I want you to type in just a random 3-digit number. Just leave it on the table there. Just type in a random 3-digit number real quick. Something that is your subconscious. And tap the multiply for me.
Multiply.
Now take a second, think about a meaningful 3-digit number. Let me know when you got one.
Okay, yeah.
Type that in now. Hit multiply again. Now I want you to think of the ideal year that this partner of yours could be born, this Kayla. Think of the year. And just put in the last 2 digits of that year now.
2 digits?
Yep.
Okay.
And hit equals.
Equals?
Yep. So now we have a phone number here. 553-0005. Now, this number is rather arbitrary and we don't really need to remember it, but I'll just give you a sec to look at that because we are going to come back to it and I don't want you to think it's changed from this moment. But again, it's not super important that you remember it because we will come back to it.
Okay.
Now we need to create something about Kayla as a person. So I want you to think of a positive character trait. Something that you would, if there's one thing you could value in a partner above all, what that character trait would be. Do you have one in mind?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
That's the only thing that I want you to remember for right now. Here's what we're going to do. I think these days a lot of people focus too much on the physical. Right? They're so focused on the physical and we forget about the things internally that matter in a partner. So I want to do a bit of an exercise to show you the value in focusing on what's inside rather than outside. So what I've done here, let me open it up. I've created sort of a fun little dating app in a sense.
Okay, cool.
In this app, what it does is you have sort of a men and a women option. You can go through, you can choose. If you choose men, it'll show you some men. And then there's pictures of these people. Now, I want you to set aside what they look like. And you're just going to focus on the traits down here, all right?
Okay.
And if you see the trait that you like, you'd swipe on like. If you see the one that if you don't see it, you'd swipe on dislike. And you'd go through liking and disliking. And at the end, it'll give you a match. Now, the name, the face, all of these things, rather arbitrary. Well, what isn't arbitrary is down here. It tells you what the trait says about your future. Now, the interesting thing is the traits that we choose in other people actually tend to tell us a lot about ourselves rather than the people that we actually see those traits in. So the traits that we value tend to do that. So that's why knowing these traits can actually tell you about your future in an interesting way. So I'm going to give you this. The first thing you're going to see is a list of traits.
Okay. Yep.
Now, is the trait that you're thinking of in that list?
Yes, it is.
It is. All right, so hold that a little closer to you just so I can't see. I don't want you to think I'm looking at anything. I want you to swipe to the next image.
Swipe right. Okay.
Yeah, and you should see now the men or the women. So I want you to choose either one you want, no judgment, men or women.
Okay.
Now you should see the first profile. I want you to look in this profile and see if you see the trait there. If it's there, give it a like. If it's not there, give it a dislike.
Okay.
I won't look. And now go to the next profile and do the same thing. Liking and disliking if you see that trait.
And
let me know.
Going?
Yeah, keep going until you arrive to your match and let me know when you're there. It's really quite interesting.
Okay. Yeah, I have a match.
Perfect. So the match, she has a name, she has a face, but like I said, very arbitrary. Even she has like hobbies, like arbitrary. For example, what are some of the hobbies?
Hiking, origami,
Yeah.
NFTs.
NFTs, yeah. Okay, so the hobbies and the name and the age, all very arbitrary, but what's not, like I said, is at the bottom, there's a list. And that list tells you what your trait may say about your future. So, I want you to remember your trait, but also remember the word that describes your future that matches up with that trait.
Okay,
So remember those two things and that's it. That's all you need to remember.
Okay.
You can lock the phone, set it face down.
Turn it off and face down?
Face down.
Okay, turn off.
Face down.
Face down.
So there's no way that I could know. Now, here's what I want to try, Logan. First of all, we now have a name, we have a phone number, we have a trait, and you have a word in mind that may describe your future. So these are a lot of very interesting things. And if you remember, before you said the name or the phone number, I gave you two predictions. Can you take those out and don't look at them yet? We'll set them down on the table.
Okay.
Perfect. Now, you agree that there's no way that anyone could have known anything before you said it, and you were holding on to those the whole time.
Yeah.
Now, the interesting thing is if you flip that over and you swipe down, just open up the calculator. You know, you can swipe at the top there.
Okay,
Yeah, open up the calculator. So we can have that phone number. That number hasn't changed. It's been there the whole time.
Yep.
But you remember, before the number you created, I wrote down a number.
Yes.
And if we look here, incredibly, 553-0005. You can see that right there, the prediction, 553-0005.
No, in the world. Okay. Yep.
Now, the next thing is the name. You thought of a name, and before you ever said the name, I wrote down just a feeling that I got, and you went with Kayla, right? I want you to take a look at that other billet.
What the hell?
Kayla, right? And if I show everyone, that genuinely says Kayla. Now, Logan, again, these things, like I've been saying the whole time, rather arbitrary.
Yep.
But what's a little less arbitrary is that trait and the other sort of feelings that we get with this person. So I want you to think of that trait, because to me, I feel like in a partner, you value someone who's always going to be there for you. You value someone who is thoughtful and the type of person who is there for the ones she loves. Does that sound right?
Yes.
You value someone who is strong-willed, but no matter what kind of situation you find yourself in, will always be upfront with you and always be the exact type of person that you want. Like, you value someone who is nice, of course, but they're always willing to be by your side, and they'll stand by your side no matter what, through the thick and thin.
Yep.
And I think above all, the trait that you really value in someone is someone who's honest.
Mm-hmm.
Does that sound right? Honest? Is that the trait you went for?
Yeah, you're correct, yeah.
Now, that's crazy, and you also have a word in mind to describe your future.
Yep,
correct? Now I want you to think of this word for me, because things might be a little rough now, and I get it, it's rough for all of us, but I can assure you that things will get better.
Mm-hmm.
And I genuinely think that you knew this as well, because the trait that you chose is actually something really valuable, and not enough people value that trait in people. And I think you knew the whole time that that was an important trait. What I also think you know, you have this word in mind to describe your future, because you know that your future will be a
success.
A success.
Correct.
Now, here's the thing, Logan. Hopefully this demonstration, if not if not, super telling, maybe at least you found some relief in what I've told you. Because like I said, this name, this phone number, rather arbitrary, but it's the trait that really makes all the difference. It's the trait that not only tells me what you value in people, but it tells us a bit about where you could end up as a man one day. Now, the interesting thing is these pieces of information, the name and the number, are not things that I thought up out of the blue. Believe it or not, you actually are telling me, and I can't know these things unless you know them, because deep down, you know well ahead of time the numbers you're going to choose, whether that be subconsciously, you know it. You know the name you're going to choose before you say it. You also know that the trait you value is important, and you know your future will be a success, as you said. Now, these being arbitrary, that's fine, but I don't think that they're as arbitrary as you might think, because you might not believe what I'm saying. You might not believe that you can know these things beforehand, and that's okay. But hopefully this will provide that little bit of proof that you need to know, that you deep down already know everything that you need to know about yourself and how to get to that place that you want to be in the future. Here's that. You have a word in mind. You said yourself you think your future will be a success. And this number right here, you created totally subconsciously, but I think you knew the whole time. You purposely created this number because subconsciously, Logan, you knew that your future would be a success. And that right there, a successful future. Hopefully that's showing up okay. Success.
Well, no, you're correct. You're correct in thinking that my future will be a success.
I hope you can take something positive away from this experience.